You're looking at the bolt gun, the favoured weapon of the Emperor's most zealous warriors. In an age where every solar system is under threat, and every alien empire dreams of humanity's annihilation, this blessed slab of death stands as the great leveller. For thousands of years it has been the herald of mankind's wrath, silencing orc warbands, tearing through tyranid swarms, and making even the boldest heretic reconsider their life choices. But here's the question, what truly sets a bolter apart from a normal firearm? What's hidden inside this bulky, brutal frame that turns this into the galaxy's ultimate equalizer? And most importantly, if you're not an 8-foot gene-forged angel of death, could you possibly get your hands on one? Well, funnily enough, just the other day, we managed to borrow some of these weapons. When coming through customs at the Lortor's spaceport, was a very nervous and very heavily armed member of the Blood Ravens chapter. Now his luggage, let's just say it contained a suspiciously large quantity of bolt guns, all belonging to a plethora of other chapters. Naturally, these bolters were confiscated, purely for safety reasons of course, and we promptly shipped them down to our Lortor's R&D department. There, our team of archivists, engineers, and tech priests began taking them apart, cataloguing every component and preparing them for mass reproduction and sale to Lortorists just like you. So let's open them up and see what makes the Emperor's favourite crowd control device tick. It should first be stated, however, that the Astartes we borrowed these from is still a bit angry, and honestly, you can't blame him. To a Space Marine, the bolter isn't merely a weapon, it's a relic, a sacred extension of Imperial doctrine, the means through which the Emperor's servants smite his foes. It's forged in prayer as much as in steel. Production is deliberately scarce, assembled from the finest materials the Imperium can muster, and as its frame takes shape, tech priests chant hymns, anointing components with sacred oils, and invoking the blessing of the Omnissiah over every screw and firing pin. For the warrior who wields a bolter, the spiritual bond between man and weapon runs deep. The rituals of maintenance are as important as any battlefield drill. Sure, time training for combat is important, but so are the long hours spent tending to every mechanism, polishing the sacred seals, and whispering appeasements to the machine spirit believed to slumber within the weapon's heart, all to ensure that the weapon is ready for war. This is the Godwin Pattern bolt gun, the most widely deployed variant among the chapters of the Adeptus Astartes. Yes, other patterns exist, often tailored to specific combat doctrines, environments, or Forge World traditions, but the Godwin remains the standard, dependable, adaptable, and lethally efficient across almost every battlefield mankind has ever bled on. Its size and configuration reflect its intended users, transhuman warriors clad in power armor. As such, the bolter lacks a traditional stock, instead employing a pistol grip design that suits the strength and posture of an Astartes in full battleplate, their power armor and enhanced forms compensating for recoil and vibration, rendering traditional human weapon ergonomics unnecessary. The oversized, blocky silhouette of a bolter isn't just for intimidation, it's built around the monstrous ammunition it fires, cartridges far heavier, far larger, and far deadlier than anything you'll find in a conventional armory. The standard Godwin Pattern bolt gun fires .75 caliber mass-reactive bolts. This is a round so large it dwarfs modern military munitions. We're talking larger than a 50 cal sniper cartridge, and just shy of half the size of a 40mm grenade. The Godwin packs these bolts into a curved 20 to 30 round magazine, delivering either precise single shots or controlled bursts of fire. But what truly makes the bolter a uniquely deadly bit of kit is its two-stage propulsion system. First, a high-pressure charge kicks the bolt free of the chamber, then an onboard solid-fuel rocket ignites, driving the bolt to supersonic speeds mid-flight. By the time it reaches your target, it's already too late for them to react. The diamantine-tipped bolt punches straight through armor, bone, and just about anything else in the way. Then the mass reactive fuse does what it was born to do: detonate inside the target, tearing apart infantry from within, pulping Xenos monstrosities, and even crippling lightly armoured vehicles. Now, these standard bolter rounds are devastating, but why stop there? Across the Imperium, bolters are matched with a catalogue of specialist munitions, each purpose-built to solve a very specific battlefield problem. While standard bolts remain the most commonly used, several notable variants exist, facing off against a heavily armoured foe, while Kraken rounds replace the standard core with solid adamantium and pack in far more explosives. On impact, they shed their casing and drive a spike straight into the target, then blow it apart from the inside, scattering sharpened shrapnel. Brutal, precise, and very effective against traitor marines. Looking to turn up the heat, well, Inferno bolts trade armor penetration for raw heat, replacing the warhead with Promethean gel, less ideal against armored foes, but perfect if your plan involves immolating cloak-wearing heretics alive. Maybe you're dealing with a pesky tyranid infestation. Well, the Hellfire rounds have you covered. They contain a vial of mutagenic acid and a forest of microneedles. Once they hit a target, the vial shatters, the needles bury themselves, and the acid takes over. It's as messy as it sounds, but incredibly effective at wearing down Tyranid shells. Is a rabble of corrupted guardsmen heading towards your position? Well, you should turn towards the Metal Storm frag bolts. They substitute the mass reactive fuse for a proximity detonator, and utilize a fragmentation shell. These bolts explode near the target, causing widespread shrapnel dispersal. While devastating against light infantry, they are ineffective against power armor. And when subtlety's on the menu, there's the Stalker round. Designed for covert operations, a gas cartridge replaces the propellant, allowing near silent discharge. The warhead is replaced with a dense mercury slug to compensate for lower velocity, so it still hits hard, just without the fireworks. The Godwin Pattern also possesses a built-in ammo counter and an integral targeter wired directly into a Space Marine's power armor autosenses, allowing them to place shots with unerring precision, even in the chaos of battle. But there's a catch when it comes to the bolter. You see, you can't just pick one of these up and start blasting. Each one is gene-locked, keyed to an Astartes genetic signature, so in mortal hands, it's nothing more than an exceptionally heavy paperweight. Fortunately, the Lortor's R&D team specializes in borrowed tech. So with a little discreet mechanicum persuasion and a little bit of charming the machine spirit, we've managed to convince your new bolter that you're exactly who it's expecting to serve. That said, even without the lock, this beast is no featherweight. The standard issue bolter is so heavy and kicks so hard that you, as an unaugmented human, will struggle to hold it, and if you plan to pull the trigger unbraced, well, say goodbye to your arm. So we'll have to scale things down, just enough so that you can still enjoy that signature rocket-assisted thunder, without your first shot also becoming your last. Since its inception, the bolt gun family has evolved, diversified, and adapted to every battlefield humanity's fought on, but its essence hasn't changed. Self-propelled mass-reactive warheads, big, brutal, and blessed. The Godwin Pattern, the poster child of Astartes' firepower, issued to firstborn tactical squads across the galaxy, is the yardstick by which all bolt weapons are measured. But the Emperor's finest don't stop at standard issue. The family tree is sprawling, and each branch solves a very specific battlefield problem. A few of the most notable alternate bolt weapons include bolt pistols, which are the classic sidearm of an Astartes, a one-handed variant meaning that you can use one hand for the pistol and the other for a chainsword. It fires full-sized .75 caliber bolts from a smaller mag, and is ubiquitous among officers, assault troops, and non-Astartes Imperial commissars, the latter using them for both battlefield heroics and corrective morale management. The Storm Bolter features 2 barrels and twice the fun, firing alternating or simultaneous bolts, producing an unbroken curtain of fire. They are often found mounted on Terminator armor, but also found on defensive emplacements and vehicle mounts. The Combi Bolter is a bolter paired with a second weapon in one package, often a flamer, plasma, or melter weapon. Sure, they're versatile, but they're also heavy and rather crude. Stalker bolters are the quiet ones, featuring an extended barrel, suppressor, and a target assistance scope. Firing subsonic stalker rounds, they are ideal for reconnaissance and long-range eliminations, where subtlety is preferred. The heavy bolter is the big brother of the smaller bolters. It fires a .998 caliber bolt with enough explosive payload to mulch heavy infantry and tear into light armor. Unlike the smaller bolters, the heavy bolter expels its motor-fed bolts via an electronic impulse, allowing for a sustained rate of fire that is physically impossible for standard bolt guns. The heavy bolter is also fairly common amongst the ranks of the Astra Militarum, with crews of Imperial guards often found firing mounted variations of this weapon. The arrival of the Primaris Marines shifted bolter design towards a new era of modularity and specialization. Enter the Mark II Cool Pattern bolt rifle, offering longer range, harder hitting shots, and still firing those iconic mass-reactive bolts. From this base platform, several new variants have emerged. The auto bolt rifle has been modified to include a drum magazine, allowing for a higher rate of fire but reduced range, whilst the bolt carbine is a shortened and lightened variant with an additional hand grip. It's designed for mobility and is a favourite of Reaver squads when the job involves close quarters or urban insertions. A few other recent innovations include the assault bolter, used by the Primaris Interceptors. It's a heavy bolter crammed into a handheld frame, with a box mag attached, autoloader fitted, and recoil dampened. It might be short-ranged, but it makes up for that with sheer volume of fire and the ability to turn a boarding corridor into a bloodbath in seconds. While the Bolt Sniper Rifle is a precision pattern bolter designed for Primaris Eliminator squads. It's optimized for extreme range engagements, outfitted with an extended barrel and long-range optics. These bolters fire bespoke interchangeable rounds designed for different scenarios. For the unaugmented elite, the Adeptus Astartes or the Astra Militarum officers, the Godwin Pattern and lock patterns scale things down, less recoil and slightly reduced caliber, making them entirely usable by standard human physiology. They still hit harder than most small arms in the galaxy, just without the risk of dislocating the user's shoulder. From trench clearing to demon smiting, the bolter remains the Emperor's ultimate answer to the galaxy's most perilous problems. Big, brutal, and now available in a variety of configurations, thanks to the tireless work of our Lortor's R&D team. So, which version will you be taking home today? Let us know down in the comments, and remember, maybe don't tell the Inquisition where you got it.
Security reminder. Please do not leave luggage unattended near the Blood Raven and Holding Bay 2.